Welcome everyone here. Thank you for fast being the county commission. This time, I'd like to ask Mr. McCaleb to lead us in prayer.
Is there any, we don't have a prayer list,
No,
is there
no.
any,
Just remember, keep remembering my family.
yeah, I was gonna mention Tommy's, is there any others?
Absolutely.
All right.
Keep remembering
And,
my family too, my father passed away.
Yeah. And thank you for
Billy
the prayers.
Tucker, Chelsea Tucker's husband got hurt on a bulldozer accident, pretty
Okay.
significant injury.
And thank you for the prayers for Jude. His surgery was successful and he's in recovery, so let's pray. Let's bow our heads. Father God, we just thank you this day for the opportunity to come before you, our Creator. We love you, Father. You're just, you bless us so many ways. Thank you for a good meeting tonight, Lord. We pray against that weather that's coming in here they're predicting, and keeping our students safe at home, God. Just help us make decisions that truly reflect you in us, God. We thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we got one item on the meeting tonight, budget discussion. In fact, we got a couple of things here that you want to discuss. Or you want to turn it over to Ms.
Well, let me
Long?
say a few things before we start. One is that I think Mr. Manning asked for do some numbers on one option, and we did. We had some, actually, I think, we had some, I wasn't in that particular meeting, but I think the mayor had let somebody believe that he had 13 votes if it was trimmed at 1.8. Now, I can't confirm that, I wasn't there, but I think that was said. We came back, we trimmed at 1.8, we got two options at 1.8 million, to do. You know, I'm not in for trimming at none, I said that, but if we get this thing passed for employees, I'm for it, okay, for the people. Whatever we can do to make it work, but if it was asked to do it, there's two options and we can explain them in detail. Scotty, you got it?
I just have a question. I wasn't in that meeting either. Was anybody else here?
I was.
I was. All right, so is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes. He made the statement
We were
that if we
asked-
got to trim down $1.8 million off of our original, that he could get the votes for that.
Okay, and I will make this comment and I'll hush, for this point in time. But that was what I had heard, and the director and Norma and I worked hard on this for 3 days to trim $1.8 million and still take care of our employees and things. So, you know, if that statement was made and it was accurate and we trimmed $1.8 million, then I'm done. You know what I'm saying? If they said do it and we'll pass it, then that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end. That's what I've got to say.
And I do want to say this again for the record. We're not asking for any money. Taking this off won't change our expenditure, it's smoke and mirrors. We're not going to change our expenditures, we're going to spend the same on our salaries, and, but we're not asking for any money. And I don't foresee in the near future several, you're asking for any money, or if ever, but that can't be predicted. We may nobody be here for a year, but we're in great shape, record high fund balance. I think we'll continue to do that. Norma's aggressively pursuing grants. We think hopefully on this teaser thing, but you can't depend on that. We're not here to fund the county. It should be the other way around, so.
So actually, there's three choices. You can do nothing, you can pick scenario 1 or scenario 2 is what we've worked up. So you actually have three
Basically,
choices.
three choices.
Three choices. And when you look at medical insurance, you got to remember that in the beginning, I estimated $9,000 per non-certified employee. If you look at the top up there now, it says it's coming in at $7,950. So the board's cost for a full policy for a non-certified policy is $7,950, so that's about $1,000 per person savings. And then to be transparent to the county commission, I had put all 12 months in the original budget because I wanted them to see exactly what it would cost.
Well, Norma explained that you weren't trying to hide money, it's that's the true cost, because you don't know exactly when it's picked up.
Yeah, I didn't want to come back next year and then say, why is it much more next year than it was this year? I was trying to use common sense. So if we begin coverage in January, we'll have to pay the policy for 9 months. So the reduction that you see in medical insurance, the $519,000, is not doing away with it. It is cutting it back to the $79.50 and only counting 9 months.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Were you specifically asked about that line item?
I can't remember. I was asked so much.
I asked about that line.
Maybe.
No, I'm talking about when she presented it over there.
I don't think so.
I don't-
No, I don't think so. I don't think they ever asked about that.
Don't think so, yeah. So that is where, when you see medical insurance, the $519,000 is the cut. So scenario one is doing away with the lots. The $700,000 is being reduced, plus the other numbers that you see down through there. And I can read them all to you, but you can read just as well as I can.
Can
And
I
if you-
comment on the
Yes.
700,000?
Uh-huh.
Just so everybody, and he and I worked on this a lot, but just so everybody else understands, because, you know, I haven't talked about y'all. The $700,000 for the lights, I'm not against that, but after we talked, you know, we could take that out of the budget, that's almost $1 million. And then if we're ahead of the budget in December or something other, and we're saving money or whatever, then we'll go back and do a budget amendment and put it in there. But I mean, for the purposes of passing this budget, we were requested to reduce, and Joe, you're nodding, so you correct me if I say this wrong. We were requested to reduce $1.8 million, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we have done, but we could still do a budget amendment, because if I understood, and Mr. Bass, you correct me anytime too, sir, because you're here and you're always very attentive. I think in the last school board meeting we had, we were told that nobody ever got a budget amendment turned down, they passed them all. I think, and I'm paraphrasing Mr. Bass, but I think that's kind of how the conversation went. So taking the $700,000 out of there reduces almost $1 million out of the budget. But then, you know, we can't predict what's going to happen in 6 months or 3 months or next week. I can't, I wish I could. But as the year rolls on and we're coming in under budget, which we typically always do, we can go back and do a budget amendment and put the lots in there. But for the purpose of passing it, because again, and I'm being very specific because that's what my understanding is, was it was $1.8 million to pass. And the reason I keep saying that is because I am not at all ever going to vote to reduce the 10% pay raise, not by a penny. And I'm not going to vote to take this insurance out because I'm not going to violate federal law. And if our budget gets turned down, I want to know who's violating federal law. Because I'm not going, we've got it in here to fund it. That's the federal law. I'm not taking accountability for that. So, sorry, but I'm just being very vocal about all this mess.
And some of these other items that you see in scenario one, I just went back to this year's expenses. And like they said at the steering committee, if we need more money in electricity, we can come back and ask for an amendment at that point, even though we were told there was no guarantee they would pass the amendment. That it was still up to that body at that time to decide whether or not they would, right, Joe? To decide whether or not that the amendment would be passed. So we have to go forward. We have to go forward in good faith that if we don't have enough money to pay the electricity bill, that they will pass that amendment, yes,
So they just turn the lights off.
So that is
If you
scenario
don't turn
one.
the lights off, you're sitting on 50-minute fund balance.
That is scenario one, okay, just so you know all the facts.
I understand.
Scenario two is reducing the 10% raise to a 5% raise. And then also lowering the medical insurance because we can this year. Don't know what next year will do, but this year we know we can. And then also that there was a position that was going to be filled that's no longer going to be filled at the alternative school. So
Let's
that's,
back up a minute. And you hit medical insurance again, and I'm sorry, but I'm really, really humble on that. And of course, our attorney over here, you know, has been on school board before, and a lot of y'all have. That's the federal law, ladies and gentlemen, that we do that. That is why we have taken a fine every year and been written up by the comptroller's office because we did not do it. But in the past, up until this year, we have not had to do any fund this. And now we do. And it's the federal law. And I'm not gonna vote to violate it. It's just that simple. It's not complicated to me. Federal law says we will. So, and not just that, morally and ethically and us sitting on the money to do it, it is the right thing to do.
Well, keep in mind, Scotty, what she's talking about here is just the 3 months and the
I know.
difference.
Yeah, I'm just.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about, I'm not voting
Yeah.
for you say.
Yeah, and then next year, everybody's got to remember, it won't be what she says it is this year, because it'll be 12 months next year, not 9 months.
Like
And that's the real number, Tommy, she's put in there, plus you'll probably
Yeah.
increase it. We always
Plus, you'll
heard
probably
that
have a 5%
usually
increase.
goes up 7 to 11% too, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the numbers there to show transparency of what it's really gonna cost.
But we had padded it enough initially, so it would have an accurate reflection of the coming year, and we've been asked to reduce that, so we did, down to 9 months to make it more realistic. So next year shouldn't be sticker shock, because it'll be all year long.
This position at the alternative school, is it a position that we don't need anymore?
Can you
or is
explain
this a
that?
position
Not
we
really,
just
it's a
cut?
position, we've always left that, we've been blessed with money. We've always kept we always put that in there if we have like, we got a principal return at Christmas. We use that, we could use that for a training spot to help alternative site administrative work. Or, we're not trying to push you back, not saying that Miss Livingston is not going anywhere 25 years from now, but we try to keep somebody kind of in there a training role if we can get them a recruit or have it available. But we can live without that to get this to pass, obviously, you know what I mean?
I don't want anybody to, if we
We're
needed
not
that
cutting-
position, I didn't
We're not
want
cutting
to-
anybody, just say it that
No,
way.
we're not cutting.
anybody's spot.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, I asked for scenario 2, but I didn't know if there was another scenario 1. I really like the scenario 1 idea myself, because you're not touching into the.
But let me clarify there too, and I don't want to put words, but my understanding is there's not a board member I've talked to that's been negative about the lights and the field money. So if we're where we think we are in our management's like it's typically had been, we could still approach, come back and try to do an amendment, and still maybe have enough time at Christmas. If the plan is right, they might still have time to get these lights and stuff installed. We saw, but it would still be reliant up on the county commission to pass your amendment. You gotta understand that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I want to throw my 2 bits in on this
Yes, sir.
discussion. On the non-certified employees, you know, I feel like they're sort of their backbone of they're the grunts, let's call them. They're the guys that's doing the work that somebody else don't want to do. Janitors, assistants in the classrooms, cooks, you know. And I know we need a pay raise, but the higher ends, and I'm not trying to even say they don't need one. But if anybody needs one, I think we need to start at the bottom tier and work our way up and help those employees, because I don't think we can do it without them. And we, you know, I'm not concerned about them walking off the job or leaving us like that, but I think really we ought to consider them instead of other things like the lights. I mean, that's not what educating our children, in my opinion, or classwork and keeping them fed and rooms cleaned and insurance for those non-certified. That'd be a big plus, I know, wouldn't it, Joe? I think it'd be a big plus, so that's just my 2 bits, sir.
Any more discussion, anybody?
So does everybody understand this is the savings that I'd cut back? This is what I would go in there and take that much money off. Okay.
But it's not reducing what we're asking the county, because we're giving them minimum anyway.
This building insurance, what is that? Is that something?
We spent $135,000 this year on building insurance, contents, building insurance, and I had upped it $39,500 because of the ESSER buildings. And we, we may or may not get into those. And since we don't know at this time, that's a cut that I'm suggesting we make. And then if we do need it, again, we can ask for an amendment for it. So our building insurance
So-
really went up during COVID,
So,
during,
yeah. So
Yeah.
this 39,500 are for the ESSER buildings and.
it's what I had put, because I don't know what
If
it's
we
gonna.
get into them some
Yeah.
point this year,
Yeah,
then we may need
and a
to go back.
Save-A-Lot building eventually. Eventually, that's gonna become a cost also. And I don't know what it's gonna be. That was an estimate.
And that's kind of
So,
what she's done on utilities too, is
Yeah.
just skeletoned it from last year.
Now, as far as like the Save-A-Lot building with the building insurance, would we still not need to insure that even though nobody's in it? I mean,
We do have an insurance, right, but she's talking about,
yeah.
as it gets upgraded, it will increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you get equipment
Okay.
stuff.
I just wanna make sure
We- yeah, no, we got-
we're not leaving buildings
No, we
uninsured.
got insurance today,
Okay.
we closed on it.
Yeah.
Everybody understand all this? Now, how do you want to vote on this? You want to vote scenario 1 and 2 as individually, yes or no?
3.
Or 3, none?
Change nothing. Send it back.
Change nothing, leave it like it is.
I make a motion that we use scenario 1 as our budget.
Start with that one then.
I'll second that motion.
Second, any more discussion?
I'm just a little bit unclear how you explain that just then.
Okay, we're going to vote on scenario 1 first.
You've got a motion and a second.
Yeah.
And you have to open it up for discussion, and you would vote if it passed or if it failed.
Then if it fails, I'll go to scenario 2. If I get a motion and a second, we'll vote on it. If I don't get a motion and a second, we won't vote on it.
So scenario 1 leaves the raises and insurance in place.
Yes.
You want me to read it off so everybody understands?
Just, there's only 3 things that impact it, right?
Lights would be taken out with the understanding that we're going to, we would discuss where we're at financially to ask for an amendment, lights back up after before Christmas. And
So-
hopefully would give the teams time to get,
So in scenario 1, the 10% raise for all employees would stay. The medical insurance for non-certified employees would stay. The capital outlay for the wellness buildings would stay. The only thing we're taking away in scenario 1 is the lots.
Okay. Which we could come back, if we're good with
Approved.
the budget, we could come back and ask for an amendment later.
But you're taking away the medical insurance.
No.
No.
But it's in the category here on
no,
that.
what he's saying, Marty, is that's based on a 12-month. We know that realistically, we'll only pay somewhere between 6 and 9 months because it won't pick up.
That's 3 months.
But when you initiate it,
That's 3 months off, plus I overestimated each policy by $1,000. I didn't know what it was gonna be.
So the insurance stays, Marty.
Now, insurance stays.
So essentially, scenario 1, this is my last question, maybe, I don't know. Scenario 1 meets the 1.8 million that we were requested to cut.
Yes.
Next year, that 500 will be added back to.
Okay, any more discussion?
So this, what hinges on this decision tonight? If we come to conclusion and vote no on either scenario, what happens?
just submit it and say
The
we're not
way it
changing.
was originally.
We're gonna leave it just like it was.
And
So-
it would go back to county commissioners, and they're gonna have to vote on that, so they don't wanna change it, and if they vote not to do it, we'll probably go into using last year's
We'll
budget.
use last year's budget.
There'll be no raises, no insurance, and nothing for nobody.
This
Go back to
time,
last year.
it will go in front of the full commission, it won't go in
Yeah.
front of just.
Yeah, it goes straight to full commission, that's right.
Why do they have a special call?
But if it fails, we could go back, we could revert back to last year's budget, which would be no raises, no insurance on it.
So Commissioner Bass, why did they call a special call budget meeting this Friday?
It's for, to take into account everything in the regular general fund about, and the one-on-one and so forth, and go and finalize all that.
So if whatever happens tonight, we'll present it at the next county commission, which will be the, August, July.
No, it's August.
August, where are we?
Unless they call for a special call of commission, meeting, they won't vote, the full commission won't vote on this.
Till August, okay, that's why,
And
okay.
it's the first Monday night in August or second Monday, when you gonna make
I think it's that.
it? Second. No,
Okay.
full commission has to be on that.
Okay.
Can I just ask Commissioner Bass, because he's here all the time, and I do appreciate that, and of course, you know, we respect you and your attendance and attention. Do you have any questions about what we're doing here with this $1.8 million cut?
No, I know what you're doing, but it's, I mean,
I'm not asking you how you're gonna vote, I'm just asking you, do you have any
well,
questions?
my concerns and all, and what, I've talked to a few commissioners, they had no concerns over your, 10%, your insurance, even your spending on light bills and all. The only thing they had troubles with is what's considered $2.8 million of what is just fluff money that's out there inside it somewhere that you didn't give account for as to what it was going to be spent for.
I don't know, I think that's line item out through there, so I can't, I'm not gonna try to address
Well, I
that.
mean, you've addressed your pay raise and your insurance with $5.1 million. If I'm not mistaken, 5 point something.
5, yeah.
Am I not right?
Yeah, 5.3, was it 5.4? I'd have to look back.
And then you had 1.2 in your lighting and your construction, and so forth like that. So that's 5, 6.8, 6.9, 6. So you've added almost 8 million total to the thing, but the difference in that 8 million and 6.8, you know, what is it? Where's it going to? What is it? Bluff money is all we know of. Or all that I know of.
So it's 1.2 million that you're asking
Is
for
that the one
about?
he's got a raise for that?
Whatever the difference is between the pay.
1.2 million, what is that? What percentage is that?
6, like the percentage is what it is.
Okay.
But when you overinflate your budget, like everybody does, every county fluffs their budget. Everybody fluffs their budget. Even the county fluffs their budget. It's just, that's where it's at.
But the county is fluffed based on the last 3 to 5 year spending habits.
We might not have fluffed another thing.
The what?
35 years.
If
If theirs is based on 35 years, we might not have fluffed another back.
We're probably here, we ain't got enough flood.
Well, unless I've calculated it wrong, 1.2 million out of 40 million is 3%.
3%.
I sat over there to the finance man, actually, I spoke to some, to the all of it, but, you know, he said $1.8 million, and I didn't know if we could ever get to $1.8 million, but we have gotten to $1.8 million.
This is a long 3 days, I'll tell you
So,
that.
I hope we can work something out, we pass this and put the ball back in their court. We would have done what the county mayor and them had asked us to do. And that goes back to them. If they don't pass it, all our employees can go see them.
Well, that, I agree with you 100% on that. I mean, we were asked, we produced, and sent it back, because I can't say what was said that night, I wasn't there, but listen to y'all there tonight, everybody was like, yeah, he said, they said, blah, blah. But then my other concern again, Tommy, and I'm just being cautious about this, if this budget does not pass and we revert to last year's budget, we are in violation of federal law.
That's true.
And who is going to be, I'm not going to be accountable for that now, ladies and gentlemen.
Would it be the whole board us, or would it be the both boards?
I mean,
Who's fault with that budget, Scotty?
that's exactly what I'm asking.
I mean, whose fault would it be?
It'd be the people that don't approve the budget.
It'd be the people that doesn't approve our budget, yes, sir. That'd be my opinion, but I'm not a lawyer, but, I mean, we're trying to
Because our
violate
budget has
federal law.
always been perfect. I mean, it's always coming under budget.
That's right. Yeah, that's federal law, so that's the reason I'm not moving an inch on that insurance. I'm not getting in trouble for that.
What's that?
Anything else from anybody? We had a motion second, we're gonna vote on this.
Which one, scenario one?
Yes.
Scenario one?
Scenario one.
And if it fails, we're gonna go to scenario two, right?
If that's what you decide to.
Oh, okay,
or we'll
okay,
just
I got
get
you.
it
I got you.
completely And vote to not do anything. Send it back to them as we have presented it originally. So we're gonna be voting on scenario one. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
No.
Mr. McHale?
No.
Mr. Joe?
Yes. Yes.
Manny? Mr. Glover?
I'm gonna do what is in the best interest of our employees and our kids. And I'm gonna vote yes for this, but it is not right. And I'll say that, and I look at every one of the county commissioners and the mayor. What they're asking us to do is not right.
Lewis?
I'm gonna vote yes, for the purpose of, as Mr. Glover kind of stated, taking care of our children and our employees, because that's what we were asked to do, and we've accomplished that. I'm gonna vote yes on that purpose so that we can move forward to take care of them without this continuing on and on.
And I vote no. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 yeses and 3 nos, and it passes. Do anybody got anything else they want to discuss?
I do.
All right.
I'm not gonna say anything else, I don't think. I don't, philosophically, I disagree with what we've just passed. Philosophically. Because at the end of the day, we are under the 1981 Act, or we're merging into it, whatever you want to call it, but it's still our money. Or the board, the school system's money. We're only required by law to maintain a 3% fund balance. I think that is correct, and we're well beyond that. However, I voted yes for this, to try to keep some kind of harmonious relationship going and show that we're trying to move forward and work through this and do what we were asked to review. So, you know, I have non-certified employees that cry and tell me, you know, I can't buy groceries because I don't have. So ethically and everything, and legally, I mean, I feel like I have to be supportive of this for this insurance and them. That's sad. I watched my mama go through that after my daddy passed. That's a hard place to be. So I understand everybody's position on here. I don't have any disagreement with any way that anybody feels, but that's why I voted the way I voted.
Got a motion to adjourn?
Can I ask the attorney in front of, so this
Yes.
gives me the right to change the budget according to scenario 1 and send it to the county?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure I had the right to send it on.
I would assume that Norma probably needs to let them know, or we do, don't, even if she don't have the numbers that way, if they do have, I think they've got to find, I think somewhere they have to find.
They've got a finance meeting
Friday morning
at 9 or 10 or something like
6
that.
or 7.
But it has to go before county commission this time, not the finance.
It does, but I'm sure that they're gonna wanna know.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, I think it's good
I think it's the right
publicity and
thing.
good relations to let them
Right.
know what, and then tell them it is an estimate, and then as soon as you can get the real numbers to them, you will.
So do I do that? You'll need to do that, or you?
To let them know. Either or. I mean, I think it'd be completely appropriate for you to do that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure the majority of them watch it anyway, but, yeah, but it's
Okay.
the right thing to do.
May I say something?
Yes, sir.
I just want to let it known that this vote tonight is a regression of where we should be. Feel like we're going backwards. These kids, they deserve to play under the lights, not because it's just lights and they will play at night. It's because it gives more kids opportunity to play. These lights were, these kids right now, they don't even have time to play a full game before it gets
Can't
dark.
get a JV game in.
Can't get any JV games in, so we are hurting those kids by this vote. I don't like it. I don't like being forced to vote this way, and that's how I feel like I'm forced to do. Only because our employees need this money and this insurance that I voted this way. Rest of it, I could care less. But these kids deserve these lights, and I'm really heartbroken. And if those parents and those kids wanna go talk to somebody, they need to go see the mayor and the county commissioners. That's all I gotta say.
Got a motion to adjourn.
So
So
much.
moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?